All right, everyone. In this video, we'll be basically talking about the best creatures in old school Magic when we're talking about competitive level. These are basically creatures that you're going to see over and over again in about 90 to 95% of all decks that employ creatures in old school. All right. So we'll start with the white. White really has two competitive creatures that you'll find in every single deck that plays white and that plays creatures. And we're talking about Savannah Lions and the Serra Angel. Now, for obvious reasons, Savannah Lions is a 2/1, 1-drop vanilla creature. No downside, just pure speed, turn 1. Usually it's your 1-drop in any aggro deck, white-red, white-green, even the white-blue Lion Dib, which is considered one of the best decks in old school, employs the Savannah Lion and the Surrender Befreet, and also the Serra Angel. Now, the Serra Angel is what you would call maybe the most complete all-around good creature in old school. 4/4 flyer for double white and 3 colorless that does not tap when she attacks. I guess today they call it Vigilance in the modern Magic. Back in the days, there was no name for that ability, but it was just attacking does not cause Serra Angel to tap. So basically, the Serra Angel is a creature that comes later on in the game, in the later turns of the game, to pretty much seal the deal. And this is what you'll find also in decks like the deck, which have no creatures except that 1 or 2 copies of Serra Angel that comes in late in the game once the board is controlled by the player playing the deck, and they'll drop the Serra Angel to finish off. Now, these are the 2 best white creatures in the format of old school. We'll move to black. Now, black's best creature is undoubtedly the Hypnotic Spectre. Hypnotic Spectre is that creature that everyone tries to play turn 1 with a Dark Ritual. Usually it's the first threat that a black player is going to come out, is going to play, and if there's no response to this threat, you're basically almost, I wouldn't say win the game, but 2-3 attacks with the Hypnotic Spectre, and you're really going to empty your opponent's hand. And they're gonna have a hard time clawing their way back in the game from an unanswered Hypnotic Spectre. Now, usually those are the first ones to get bolted or Swords to Plowshare when they're played. So they're kind of like lightning rods in the black player's deck, but they're really great, and you'll find them in most, if not all, black decks that employ creatures. Now, second creature in black, which is a bit less played than the Hypnotic Spectre, but I believe is a staple in old school. It's the Juzam Jin, as you guys might know. 5/5 creature for 2 black and 2 colorless. When this guy hits the table, get out of the way, because he's pretty much winning the game again if there's no answer to him. Unlike the Hypnotic Spectre, the only way to really get rid of this guy is with the Swords to Plowshare. Lightning Bolt is not enough because there's 5 in toughness. The only drawback is that you get 1 point of damage every upkeep, like the Surrender Befreet. Besides that, I mean, it's such a powerful creature that once you play it, it's pretty much game over for your opponent if they have no answer. Now, I'd just like to say, this creature, like the Surrender Befreet, has a major weakness, and that's because it's an Arabian Nights. There's been more and more City in a Bottles played in the meta of old school lately. So by dropping a City in a Bottle, you basically destroy the creature. And also there's 2 cards that really hurt the player playing Juzam Jin even more than City in a Bottle, and that would be Mazavith or Spirit Link in the white color, because those 2 cards basically keep the creature in the game, and the creature just stays there dealing 1 point of damage to you every turn. And if there's a spirit link on the creature, it's also giving 1 life to your opponent. So it's really a drawback against this card. It's a really good card. Spirit link and Maze of It. All right, so now we're gonna go with blue. Obviously, blue only has 1, but it's the Surrender Befreet, considered, I believe, the best creature in Old School. A lot of people think this is the best creature in Old School, and the reason for that is because it's a 3/4 flying for a casting cost of 3, but there's the casting cost is only 1 blue mana, so you could basically splash this in any deck. Red blue counter burn, white blue lion dib. It's just such a power creature, and the fact that it's only a single blue to cast, unlike the Juzam Jin or the Sarah Angel, means that it's just so much more versatile. But then again, it's got the same drawback that is the Juzam Jin has. It's that 1 point of damage every turn. So the Maze of It or a the Spirit Link really sets you back if your opponent plays one of those cards. But besides that, I mean, this is a no-nonsense game winner. That's why everyone playing blue with creatures is always going to play 4 of these in their deck. All right, now we're going to go with green. Also, green has 1. Green being the weakest color in Old School Magic, obviously. We don't really know why. I mean, the color pie wasn't balanced that much back in the days. So green gets left out, but they get a pretty solid creature, which would be the Urnam Jin. 4/5 for a 1, like the Surrender Befreet, 1 green casting cost and 3 colorless. Again, splashable in multiple different decks. And I mean, that's why you'll see it in Urnam Ganon or Urnam on Ice, or even the big green Stompy, which is green and blue. These are the 2 creatures you'll see because of the casting cost that requires only 1 colored mana to play. And the drawback of this Jin is that it gives your opponent's, one of your opponent's creatures of your choice Forest Walk. So usually you give Forest Walk to a creature that you can block, let's say a flying creature or a creature with small power. So the drawback's not that bad. But again, like the Juzam Jin, the Surrender Befreet, and the Urnam Jin, they all come from Arabian Nights, which produced some of the greatest creatures, most powerful creatures out there. But because they come from Arabian Nights, City in a Bottle just takes care of all these 3 cards. If City in a Bottle didn't exist, a deck mainly of Jins and Afrits with these 3 creatures in a playset of 4 each would be ultra powerful. But the reason that the City in a Bottle is there makes that, that deck not as strong anymore, because of the fact that you would lose every creature if the player would play City in a Bottle. So that's for the green. You'll also maybe see competitively Llanowar Elves and Birds of Paradise, I guess, but we'll not put them here because I don't think they're as strong as all the creatures we have here, but you'll see a lot of those also. Birds of Paradise, just like the Hypnotic Spectre, will get bolted or Swords to Plowshare as soon as they come into play. Llanowar Elves, maybe not that much, but yeah, that's for those creatures that might be considered good, I mean, competitively, like your Urnam Jin. And finally, for red, we have, obviously, the best creature in red is the Sedge Troll. And, I mean, there's a little caveat here. The player playing Sedge Troll has to play black also, because it gets +1/+1 if that player controls swamps and regenerates with a black mana. So the player must play black. But I mean, for a 1 red, 2 colors casting cost, a 2/2 creature, which is usually a 3/3 by the time you drop it, because you have a swamp and a mountain, or just simply put a badland. This creature is really powerful. There's decks built completely around this creature, which is the Disco Troll deck, which runs a playset of Sedge Trolls and the Nemineral's Disc, which basically blows up everything but keeps the troll alive to just beat up on the opponent. Really, the only way of killing this creature, again, is the Swords to Plowshares, which we'll find in every deck that plays white. people will also play in their sideboards Terror, which is very good against this creature, and Disintegrate. Those are the cards that will hurt. Those are basically the 3 cards that will hurt the set troll. Terror, Disintegrate, and Swords to Plowshares. Besides that, it's a really good creature, hard to get rid of. That's why you see it in a lot of old school decks. The second red creature that you see in a lot of old school decks is the almighty Smiley Atog. Now, Atog is a small 1/2 creature for 1 red and 1 colorless, but with the special ability of gaining a +2/+2 until end of turn for each artifact that you decide to feed it, to sacrifice to it for the turn. So usually you will see these in a blue-red counter burn, where all the moxes are played, all the jewelry, the lotus, with Black Vise and Anka Mishra to really cause a lot of damage early in the game for on your opponent, and then pulling out 1 Atog and finishing off your opponent with a sacrifice of 3, 4, 5 artifacts to make it a 10 or 12 power creature. Again, the Atog is one of the red creatures you're going to see in mostly, well, if you see a red creature in a competitive deck, it's the Atog that you're going to see, or the Sedge Troll. Okay, now there's, actually I forgot the last color, which is not the color, but the artifacts. There's clearly 2 really good artifact creatures that you will see in all decks that play artifact creatures. And it's number 1, I got it right here, the Trike. As you know, the Trike is a 6 casting cost, 4/4. Well, actually, it's a 1/1 that comes with 3 +1/+1 counters on it, making it a 4/4, where you could remove counters for 1 point of damage apiece. So you could remove up to 3 counters for 3 points of damage. So it's like a 4/4 that could sacrifice and become a 1/1 and lightning bolt whoever, any player you want or any creature you want. And what's nice about it, you could split those counters. So Savannah Lions are really, really hurt against Triskelion. Triskelion comes into play, you could basically destroy 3 Savannah Lions and you still have a 1/1 creature. Casting cost of 6, usually players that are going to play this, they're going to play it on a robot deck with a Mishra's Workshop, a lot of rocks, a lot of jewelry. So these ones could come out fairly quickly. Now the second really good artifact creature, arguably maybe better than the Triskelion, if you're playing Swedish where there is no mana burn, is the Suchi. Okay, now Suchi is kind of one of those weird cards where it's a 4/4 for 4 casting cost, colorless, so it could be in any deck. But the thing with Sushi is when it goes to the graveyard, you get 4 points of damage. Now, if you're playing with mana burn, this is completely off the list. This is it's not a good creature because Sushi is gonna die 90% of the time in combat. So by getting 4 colorless in combat, there's nowhere you could spend it, so you're gonna get mana burned unless you have a JMD Tome and use the 4 to draw a card, or if you have Mishra's Factories to pump your Mishra's Factory. If you don't have any of those 2 cards and you're playing with mana burn, when Sushi gets destroyed, you get 4 points of damage. So it makes this really a bad creature. But if you're playing Swedish with no mana burn, you're getting a 4/4 for 4 colorless. And you can even disregard the fact that you get 4 colorless mana because you're never going to get the damage from it. You're just going to lose a creature and lose 4 colorless. Now, if you happen to have a Mishra's Factory or a book, well, then that's just like a bonus. You get a free draw. But the important part is that you're not losing a life because there is no mana burn. So, yeah, these are the 2 best creatures competitively in Old School. And I would say there's a third one, which is not really a creature, but a land that becomes a creature. You guys know what I'm talking about. Mishra's Factory. Mishra's Factory that came out in Antiquities, just like these 2 artifacts, which is a land that you could tap to make it a 2/2 creature. Pay 1 and tap. Well, actually pay 1 to make it a 2/2 creature. And then you could tap also this land to make any other Mishra's Factory or itself a +1, to give it a +1/+1. So you could pay 1 to make it a 2/2 and then tap itself to make it a 3/3. So it's a really good blocker against the Savannah Lion. When you get starting to get multiple of these, they get strong. They get 3/3, 4/4, 5/5. They get really strong. So doesn't count like a spell. It's a land drop. You drop it and it's a land, and then you could use it as a creature. Basically, these 3 last ones are usually played together in a deck with blue that plays Copy Artifact. And you'll get 4 copies of Copy Artifact, which make these all really strong creatures. So that's about it. This is what you'll see in, I would say, 9 out of 10 decks. 90% of old school, really good, strong, competitive decks are going to have these creatures in them, depending on which color you're playing. And one strategy also is to, when you're deck building, is to pick these creatures and just build a deck around them. So let's say you want to build a deck around black and red. Well, you're going to be playing most probably land destruction with Stone Rain and Sinkhole, lightning bolts, discs, and you're going to be popping in these creatures. If you're playing white-blue, well, it's a control deck, a lion deck with disenchants, Swords to Plowshares, counter spells, and these powerful creatures put together make it an extremely powerful deck. Black-white is what you would call Dead Guy Ale. That's would be this combination. Green-blue Stompy is this combination here. If you decide to play not with the Sedge Troll because it requires black, but red-blue, you're looking at this. You're looking at like an Atok Smash or a Counter Burn with Lightning Bolts, Counter Spell. That's what you're looking at. If you're looking at a Robots deck, it could be a mono blue with these creatures here with the Copy Artifacts, or a blue-red with the artifact creatures. I mean, the different possibilities are multiple, but every deck is gonna revolve pretty much around these creatures if they're playing with a creature deck and not a creatureless deck. And this is what you will encounter most of the time. So the weakness, we're going to finish that off with the weaknesses. These three's weakness is, like I said, the City in a Bottle. The weakness of the Hypnotic Spectre is the Swords to Plowshares and the Lightning Bolt. Lion is pretty much, Triskelion is good against Lion. Earthquake for 1. Really, with 1 point of toughness, they're easily killable. Swords to Plowshares, Lightning Bolts. Factories are very good to defend against Lions because they'll defend. They're a 2/2, then they're going to pump and tap themselves to become a 3/3, so they will kill the Lion and still stay alive. So factories are really good against Lions. Now, for the Serra Angel and the Serendib Efreet, the really only way to kill these creatures is Swords to Plowshares, which you will see very often. And in blue, there is the Psionic Blast. Usually, players tend to put Psionic Blast in their sideboards, like 1 or 2 of them. It's to take care of these creatures right here. The third option is Terror, if players playing black. That's another way of destroying these creatures. Besides that, they're pretty hard to destroy. Sedge Troll here is basically Terror and Disintegrate, which you will find in most sideboards. Swords to Plowshares in the main board will take care of Sedge Troll. Atog is like the Savannah Lion, Lightning Bolt. Any small damage will pretty much take care of Atog. It's got 2 toughness like the Savannah Lion and Hypnotic Spectre. It's just that you could pump it. Now, usually the trap a player could fall into with Atog is to try and deliver the final blow by sacrificing, let's say, 5, 6, 7 artifacts to make it like a 10, 11, 12, 14 power creature. And then the player just decides to cast Swords to Plowshare. So you got to watch it with the Atog for that. Okay, now for the Suchi and Triskelion, obviously, and the Mishra's Factory, you got the Swords to Plowshares. You also have an extra card that destroys these. It's the Disenchant in white, which is pretty much seen in every white deck. So you got to watch for the Disenchant. One card that's extremely good against Triskelion. Well, I mean, it's good against all artifacts, but really shines against Triskelion. It's the red card called Artifact Blast from Antiquities, I believe, which is counter target artifact for 1 red mana. Now, the reason why it's such a great card against Triskelion is that usually, if you disenchant Triskelion, you still have a chance to release the 3 bullets and kill small creatures like Savannah Alliance or damage your opponent. But by playing the Artifact Blast, you completely stop the opponent from playing Triskelion. The Triskelion basically never enters the battlefield, the playground. So it cannot shoot its bullets to creatures or players. So the card from Antiquities, I just named it. I forgot. What's it called? The Artifact Blast is really good against Triskelion, and that's about it. So that's for the creatures in Old School. Like I said, you'll see other creatures played in Old School. In black, you'll see Black Knight. In white, you'll see White Knight. You might see Flying Men in blue. Like I said, Lanor Elves or Birds of Paradise in green. In red, you might see a Granite Gargoyle, maybe a Ball Lightning, but those are, you will not see them as often. Obviously, if the player in red is playing a Goblin deck, you're going to see Goblins. There's also another red card you might see in red. It's the Orc, the 2/2 Orc, Iron Claw Orcs, which you might bump into. But I mean, they're not as strong as what you see here. So yeah, that's about it. That's for the creature side. And in the next video, maybe we'll talk about some spells or some, we'll talk about some, maybe the Power 9. We'll see what we'll talk about in the next video. All right, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.